Alright, so last time after rescuing Manda and getting the information about your reward being at base, the debate started about whether you would go back to dock and claim the reward or head off to fulfill your other bounty. So the group must now discuss and decide.
Actually, the other bounty sounds good, but now.
Yep, the other bounty is wise, particularly if for no other reason that we agreed to do it.
Besides, we're not going to level up again and get stronger
We don't know
between going back and
up.
forth.
What is this? Metagaming!
So silly question.
Silly answer.
By taking the contract, is that an actual we agreed to do it, or is it that it's more of a we just agreed to look at it? That make any sense?
I mean, I thought we had discussed last time that we had agreed to look at it, but now it sounds like we agreed to take it.
I'm not sure how these contracts work. Just because we took it to the captain to decide, and then he let us have which one we wanted to do first, if either of them. Which we basically said we decided to rescue Manda. Not realizing, I didn't realize that, if that was just meaning we were accepting both, or whether, for all we know, considering we went to save Manda first, that he gave the bounty out to someone else and it's already collected and would be wasting time killing the fiend.
Well, the fiend would be dead when you show up. Right?
Which we would have wasted a month of travel.
Hey.
Do we have faster than light communication? Could we check on the status of the contract?
Does anyone on this boat know sending? Even though as a monk, I probably wouldn't know the existence of the set spell.
No. It is beyond our ken. Unless the ship's engine does.
In character, we don't know about the ship's engine.
We're going to ask the captain if he would know if we can send messages quickly and find out if something's been done. So, Captain, would you have a way of contacting the port and asking if a contract is done already or not? From here?
If you took a contract, I don't think it should be completed unless we completed it, or unless it was an open contract.
It was an open contract.
Was it an open contract?
Well, if it's open contract, you didn't say you went up with him, so I'm going to ignore you for right now, sorry. If it was an open contract, then there's really no way of knowing except going back to the person.
Okay.
Communication back to there is difficult to do, and I don't have means of doing it.
So we should just go for it.
It's still probably a good choice to go for it. Even if we're out a month's supplies, the risk is worth the reward.
Besides, I'm training my own cooking skills with cooking.
Yes. I haven't even learned to measure yet.
Not to be overly critical, but it could use some work.
That's because I don't like you.
What, you don't like me, or what?
A certain alchemist has some rather questionable decisions lately.
Well, so does the person you said you're teaching to cook.
Yeah.
He's the one that cooked a human.
He's just trying to become a fallen.
Oh boy. Oh.
So at some point in time, relatively early in our journey, I would like to talk to someone alone.
To who
Take it
alone?
away.
I pull Talon aside and say, "We need to talk."
Talon, you're off getting some food for Cookie. And just collecting some stuff, and in walks Cleok, where no one else is around, and says exactly as he did, that you two need to talk.
Okay. Well, after supper, when we have free time, I have plenty of time. It's up to you.
I'm in no rush to actually do this, considering it's a long trip. You know, at least a month. So,
Okay.
just an opportunity when neither of us are technically working, because I would assume that I would continue attempting to train.
Do you want to reschedule? Do you want to schedule a meeting with him here after dinner,
Sure.
or in some designated location?
I'm not sure there's all that many like private areas on the ship, but I would like to keep.
The pantry's usually fairly quiet, or the workshop if no one's in there. The smithy is usually occupied with Yonaven. That's an assumption. I believe I'm correct, Yonaven. You could tell me if I'm wrong.
No,
The
no,
cargo
you're
hold
correct.
may be able to, or the top deck might be sparse depending on the hour.
I don't necessarily want to do it in the pantry. That would be just any spot of relative privacy, just someplace on the deck, I'd say.
Okay.
You know, just kind of away.
Okay. So you guys eventually get to your location?
Yeah.
Why'd you kill that person? No, I'm serious. I'm assuming the laughing was in character, and
I honestly didn't think both of that level would kill him.
so your intention was not to kill him.
My intention at first was not to kill him at all.
Cleok.
Then why did you attack him?
Actually, not Cleok. Talon, just a moment. If you recall in your memory, you did remember an instance where you were wondering if yes, you should cause the killing blow, or if you should just drop the man, and you did decide to initiate a killing blow. So I need you to roll a bluff check, and Cleok can roll a opposed what is it?
Insight.
Yes, thank you.
Great. Great. Of course.
There's a big die on the table.
After you,
the
sir.
Wizard's Quarter.
Give me a second. Where did I go?
No, I'll go ahead and roll it. That's an 11.
So what were the rules?
Hold on. Bluff check.
That would be deception.
What do you say yours was, Shatter?
Um,
What is Talon's deception?
3?
Total?
No, that's the plus bonus.
Okay. Did you roll yet?
Where's the dice?
It's right next to the Wizard's Quarter. It's a big purplish die, and there's a bunch of red pinging it. And what did you get, Talon? Or, not Talon,
It looks-
Cleoc?
He beat me because I rolled
Okay.
4 bad.
It looks like I got 19 total.
So for now, you believe he didn't intentionally kill the individual.
Still, why did you attack him in the first place?
Um,
What'd you hope to gain from that?
Distraction? Slow the guy on a pinch? I don't know.
Did you do it because you felt like we were threatened, or did you do it because Yonovan attacked them?
Actually, I felt like we were threatened. Honestly.
As you were closing the portcullis, you felt threatened.
Okay.
Talon,
Okay, we needed also time to close the port corrals.
Talon, very well. I believe you that you thought we were threatened, but still, it's. Oh, what's the best way to say this? Not everyone that wants to.
Not all situations are good with violence. Is that what you want to say?
Something like that. Consider.
Alright.
Again, I saw that situation as we were invaders to their home at best, or they're slaves to the people, to the person in the tower at worst. Living in fear that, there may be retribution if they turn a blind eye.
Mm.
Now, what do you think they're going to think of us? That let's say that there was a great evil. Is that in character?
Yeah. Well, let me put it this way. I react sometimes, and then I get 2 months to think about why I did it. So, take it with a grain of salt and give it that. And I'd probably walk out at that point.
I don't try and stop him, but I will yell at him and basically or speak as he's leaving and say, just try and examine the situation more closely. Not everyone that tries to stop us is worth actually fighting and killing.
Okay.
And just as a quick reminder and refresher, what had happened was Yonovan had shot a guy and basically did massive amounts of damage, and I hadn't asked him before shooting whether he was intending to kill the individual or not. And he said that he wasn't when I said the person dropped. Then you got to the tower, and you dropped the portcullis, and Talon says, okay, turn around and shoot the guy. I'm like, okay. So the first guy that you see when you turn around running up, do you shoot to kill him, or do you shoot to just wound him or knock him down? And he said, kill. And just so happens that it was the guy that Yonovan had put a hole in his shoulder, was then blasted in the face by a firebolt.
For 3 body points of damage.
Realize the most commoners have maybe 2 or 4 hit points. And
Okay, and how did Yonovich's shot not kill the dude?
Not even sure I rolled for damage for that. I just rolled to hit.
You did roll for
I did roll
damage.
for damage.
And you maxed damage as well. Like,
Oh.
I think you crit or almost critted, and you rolled max damage.
Okay then.
And since I didn't ask you ahead of time, I gave you the benefit of the doubt and said, okay, well,
I
you
said I shot him
didn't.
in the shoulder. Initially, I thought. Anyhow,
Well, no. I asked you if you were shooting him or at the ground, and you said him. But I didn't ask if you were shooting to kill or shooting to wound, and I should have. So that was my failure to not get you to specify, which is why I then had Talon specify when he said he was going to follow suit.
Alright.
And out of character, how did the person to take that much massive damage be within the top front rank people to be hit?
So some GMs I know, DMs, which in this case, Nate, will give you the option, even if you're using a weapon that's normally lethal force, gives you the option that if you specify to begin with that you are looking to only incapacitate and not kill, that he assumes that your attack, while damaging, was just meant to like knock them unconscious.
It's a skill shot.
Yeah, it's basically, it gives you permission to not have to find alternate means of damage to do less damage. It means that you are a skilled warrior and you've learned how to fight and you know how to hold a punch instead of going full force.
In this case, even though he did more damage than the person likely had hit points, he was probably dropped to 0 hit points, severely wounded / unconscious, was somehow revived, and continued the chase.
And knew exactly where you were going, so was the person leading the others to the location.
Being helped or
so
carried
he
along.
Yeah.
I believe I did state that he had 2 people next to him helping him.
Yeah.
And how would he be the one that had been aimed at? I don't know. I'll give it to you because it's in the past, and
I mean, it could have been the one to his right holding him up, and you blast his head off, and the guy falls over and snaps his neck, so you killed 2 instead if you'd lying.
Yeah, and if he
I
drops
would like
3
that.
points of damage,
Just put more on his conscience.
yeah, I would blame the DM for that.
Whatever makes him more cautious in the future.
They were clearly stated that they weren't fighters. They weren't people who were good combatants. They were little peons who had no health.
No. That was
okay.
not.
So slaves are mighty, healthy individuals who have huge pools of health.
How many firebolts can you as a person take before you die?
Me? For mine? It depends on what they are.
In real life, if I shoot you with a bolt of fire, how much likelihood do you have to survive?
Think of a flying like icicle, except for it's made out of pure fire and lights you on fire when it hits you. It probably would kill you in one shot.
Judging by YouTube videos, no way in hell.
Anyway,
too far off track.
Let's.
That's
I wouldn't necessarily worry about the finer details. It's
just know from now on, you have the opportunity to say you're not killing, and you're holding your punch, basically, and that way you don't actually kill people who are not
I don't have any
evil
way
or
of
hostile to
holding
you.
my punch.
Yes, you do. You state that you are. And instead of blasting them in the center of their face, you hit the edge of their arm.
It's a free game mechanic that you can knock someone unconscious rather than kill them.
It's an optional rule in 5th Ed.
Okay.
Yeah, it makes
just
no
face it,
sense at all.
some things don't make sense in Dungeons and Dragons, and this might be one of them. But don't.
You mean like sailing in outer space on an open vessel?
Yes.
Shh. What do you mean that doesn't work?
We're on a boat. I don't even know why. I don't even see any sails on this thing.
I
don't even know how it
documentaries
goes.
on Treasure Planet about this, and it worked fine there.
Right?
Peter Pan, right?
That's another one.
All
I
right.
blame
So
gnomes.
Either way,
there-
beyond training the crew, I don't necessarily want to engage Donovan, but I do want to keep a little bit of a closer eye on him than the rest of my companions, just trying to figure out a little bit more about the person without actually engaging.
Donovan,
If I need to make a stealth check, I'll do that.
Roll
Well,
what?
you're just keeping an eye on him. I don't know that you'd be stealthy since you're saying you're being stealthy about it. It's just a perception to see if he actually notices you watching him.
Woohoo, natural 19, and my perception is wisdom +2. 21.
A few days into travel, you feel kind of strange, and you feel like you're being watched. And every so often, you look around, and you usually catch Cleok looking at your direction.
Interesting. Does he where does Cleok sleep? Is he just in this with the rest of the crew, or
Yeah, you all just sleep in the crew quarters. You take shifts.
how?
Hence how you can have more crew than you actually have beds. Because people don't get a designated bunk, they get to
I
share.
want to also perceive whether or not this is happening.
Is there a hammock
What-
or whatever that he regularly sleeps in?
And you know he usually sleeps.
Can I say that
What'd you say?
as maybe find a spot to rest on deck instead of below deck, if that's even
Okay.
possible.
I guess you are a bird. You might like standing,
I might.
with your feet.
I'm just gonna put a couple pokey crystals where he normally rests.
Okay. Roll a perception check, Cleok. See if you notice them before you try to go to sleep.
Where'd the dice go?
What's your modifier?
I think it's 3. Yeah. So
Then
it's
yeah,
11.
you notice it. It's not very difficult since he didn't really disguise him. He just kind of set him there.
And these were the crystals from.
I mean, I've got tons of them.
So yes, a few of the magic crystals.
It's just a little token to let you know I see you.
And Cookie, you can roll a perception check, I guess, but you're not usually hanging out with the two of them, so yours is going to have to be a
Right.
bit higher to actually be able to see it. It's going to be a good bit more difficult.
I'll need the dice.
It's on the bow of the ship.
Oh, cool.
I was moving it to you. There you go. Give that a roll.
No.
Here she goes.
Okay.
You can just hit R on it too. Probably is not going to be
11.
high enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not high enough. All right. Does anyone else want to do anything on their trip?
So I would like to carefully pick up the crystals. Perhaps with like a cloth I have on me.
That's fine. You know that's not. You'd have to accidentally engage with them to be poked by them, so you can easily just pick them up and you're
Okay.
good.
And I go back to. I go to the smithy.
Okay.
The workshop or the smithy?
Well, wherever Jonathan's hanging out.
I'm probably in the workshop.
Yeah, they're conjoined.
Yeah. Fair enough.
I thought about removing the wall to just make it one, but yeah.
Did you drop these?
and I go ahead and
Oh.
So and I take out the cloths and say, "Are you missing these?"
Oh, I was wondering where those were. Thanks. I put them back in the pile.
I see. Be a little bit more careful next time.
Sure. Uh-huh.
I'd like to say that I'm quite suspicious, but have no. But for one, I don't know how much I actually know about the properties of the crystal. I know that I've seen, a few people, like, maybe from my perspective, grimace when they
What
touch
you've
the crystal.
overheard. Yeah, what you've
Right.
overheard, and you have seen them, like, look like they were weary after playing with him.
Right.
Yeah. When I put them back, I'll tell them not to stare at those.
But I don't immediately, confront him over what was
Okay.
going on about it.
Jonathan, were you wanting to roll a check to see if you're able to make your alternate mechanism?
Sure. What do I need to do with that? Just use the... Am I using the tools advantage, or...
Yeah. Go with one of your tool sets that makes sense that you have with your class.
Let me see what's the bonus on those.
Probably be tinkering or alchemy or something like that, or a combination of the two.
Right, that's in the actual alchemist papers that are not part of the regular skill set.
Yeah, they are. Regular skill set, you get a set of tool proficiencies, and then for yours, you get smithing and tinkering, I believe.
Okay. Well, I'm seeing if they use dex or if they use strength for...
Use int.
I use int. Perfect. I like
Because
that.
I believe that your spellcaster ability, and that's what you're kind of doing.
Yep, okay. Sweet, so that's a +4 to my roll.
It is going to be difficult, so it's going to be a fairly high check, but the level you succeed is the ease at which you can produce it later.
Okay. You remove the dice. I can use my metal one in front of me, unless you want to have it on record. There it is.
There it is.
Please be high. That's not great. 14.
Okay. You're able to get the concept figured out, but not really successfully make any effect.
Okay.
You have a little bit of it pop in your face, so you know you can kind of get it to work, but you were smart enough to do it in small batches.
After my first initial encounter with the crystals, yes.
So, you could try up to 2 more times during this trip,
Okay. I'll give it a
considering
few
the beginning
minutes.
and stuff, and given the fact of how much you like, sitting in there. Anyone else want to do anything on this trip?
So after I realized that Jonathan has likely noticed me, considering what
He tried to
what he
jab you
tried
with?
putting in my rest area,
Mm-hmm.
given I would assume at this point that I would know that he's been in the workshop most of the time, and don't necessarily want to continue just hanging out in the workshop or spying on him, but I will want to take notice when he actually leaves the workshop to actually test things if he does that. Because I'm curious as to what he's doing, but I'm a bird brained apparently, and I wouldn't understand what he was doing anyway. Other than I want to make sure that if he tests it, I want to make sure he's not doing like evil devil things with it. Because you're evil. I know you're evil.
What languages do you know?
I'm not telling.
Okay.
Did you transcribe in a certain language, Yonovan?
What do you mean?
Are you keeping notes in a certain language?
I would just be keeping it in Dwarvish.
Okay. So Kleak would only be able to understand it if he knows Dwarvish.
But I don't. I almost picked that, but I didn't.
I'm going to go find some charcoal from one of the torches that I can write in a little bit,
Okay.
and I am going to stealth to where Kleak normally rests, and draw some Dwarvish runes in a circle.
That is so
Okay.
evil. That is so evil.
Kleak, you see Yonovan leave
I
his
said I'm gonna
workshop.
Right. I'm gonna try and stealth there since I keep seeing his eyes on me. I'm gonna
Okay.
try and sneak away.
So roll a stealth. Kleak will counter.
Dice. No, great.
Uh,
That is as it rolled 13. So he needs to roll a perception.
11.
shoot.
Oh my gosh.
So you
So-
do hear the workshop door, but you don't see Yonovan anywhere.
I write in Dwarvish runes in a circle around where he normally rests. Stop following me. And put a crystal in the center. And then I go to the kitchen to talk to Cookie.
Okay. What do you talk to Cookie? Kleak, what do you do?
I tell Cookie what I've been doing. The bird brain keeps following me around.
I
so
want to
I'm
peek in the
messing with him.
workshop.
He's pretty
Okay.
paranoid.
He's not in there. He's
He is
talking with
pretty
Cookie right
paranoid.
now.
I'm hoping he doesn't know in Dwarvish.
I want to take a quick glance at what he's been working on, but don't want to overstay my welcome.
You see some of those crystals ground into like a powder.
Okay. I'm
And-
going to make a persuasion check.
Okay. You may or may not need to.
No, I need to.
Okay.
I need to look it up. Sorry.
It's charisma.
I don't steal from him. I leave it as it is and leave the workshop.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. By any chance, am I nearby?
No.
You walk in with Cookie.
Oh, well, before that happens, James, you know, I'm actually so let me talk here with Yonovan. What's your character's name?
Yonovan.
Donovan's my character's name.
Okay, Yonovan is the character's name.
Yeah.
Right. Too many names, Steam names and real names. And...
Right.
So, I really, you know, I really feel that Kleak is a bit of a, how shall we say, escalator? You know, he pushes back, and I kind of need y'all to get along. Do you think you could stop creeping him out? Maybe I can get him to get along too. That was my persuasion check at 7. Just say.
What would I save against with that?
You could do a counter if you wanted, persuade him to not, but you kind of don't really need to.
But he's just so fun to mess with. And he keeps following me around. It's really hard not to mess with him.
Technically speaking, you cannot... I can't persuade a player character to do anything, okay? The game doesn't let you do that.
Which is why I said he doesn't really
are
need
allowed
to
do whatever they want, whenever they want. So this is just sort of me role-playing my conversation to you, okay?
Fair enough. Alright, I'll try not to mess with as much. But I don't want to go up and erase what I just did.
Hey. I whisper in your ear, Yonaman?
Yeah.
I could actually type around the runes in Celestial if you wanted.
He might be able to read Celestial, though. I don't think he can read Dwarvish.
I can.
You can read Dwarvish?
Yeah.
I just said stop following me and put a crystal in the middle. And he doesn't know what these crystals are for. So...
Sounds fine. He's messing with pretty dangerous crap.
Okay.
More importantly, cohesion is more important than figuring out everything that's going on.
So, Cleoc, you get back to your spot that evening and find a rune of charcoal, a ring of charcoal runes with a gem in the middle.
I'm a little dumbfounded by this. Because if he were meant to trap me, he would make or do something really evil to me. It wouldn't be this damn obvious. I see whatever is written. Am I smart enough to know that it's likely dwarven words or just words in general?
You can tell it has runic symbols, but the exact language you probably wouldn't know. However, it does, because dwarven runes are technically used for more than dwarvish language.
I put my talon and scrape across the charcoal.
It makes a little scratch mark.
This counts as an experiment.
Yonavan, did you want to make another roll or two?
Sure.
I need you to roll again. This is going to be a save.
That's better.
The piece that you're currently working on explodes in a magnificent manner.
I have a advantage on Constitution and Intelligence and Poison saving throws.
Okay, well,
Just putting that out there.
It's not one of those. It was a dex save. You're able to dive across the room as you see the volatility expound beyond what you assumed it was going to. You now have to spend your next roll to see how well you can repair the workshop so that you can try to get this working.
Well, I do have Mending as a thing I can do at 3rd level.
How loud was this?
Quite loud.
That's cocked. It's not fair. It was about to be a 17 and then it stopped. It's annoying. I'll take a 19.
Okay.
I would definitely open up the workshop at this point.
Just got like black smeared all over my face.
It's not black, actually.
Okay. You got a 2 on that?
You do see some interesting colors. And you see
Cookie,
his hair's a
is
little bit
Cookie able to hear
singed.
it?
Yes.
And I'm a little bit unsettled.
I would assume that most of the crew and the captain and the first mate eventually make it down here.
Yes.
But I'd like to say that I'd be first.
I'm sweeping up a mess.
When Cookie arrives,
What is going on in here?
A little bit of experimentation. Nothing to see here.
Is there a hole in the ship?
Define hole.
You see the phlogiston beyond beyond Yonovan's head. Out the back of the
As
ship.
I slide a plank over and start nailing it down.
Huh. Okay.
Okay. I actually went out to where, darn it. Dang it. You normally, where you put the dwarven runes, I actually wrote something in Celestial.
Dwarven runes weren't there right now.
Well,
They were cleaned up.
where they had been, I put something in Celestial.
So, I do ask if he's all right. Are you all right? I may have already asked that. I don't remember now.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Medicine check?
You can roll. You see signs of basically large amounts of adrenaline and fear, possibly a little bit of stress. Maybe a lot of stress from possibly losing his head.
Are you trying to turn those crystals into whatever makes your boomstick go?
Sort of. It sort of amplifies the effect, I think.
You think?
Yes,
Well,
he thinks.
I didn't expect this to happen, so I'm sort of rethinking a few things.
Cookie arrives on the scene.
I stomp out the fire on one of my notes.
Takes a look at Yonovan. He appears to be injured, but if I heard you right, he
Singed
is injured.
a little. No real damage, but singed.
Ah. Huh. So, do you have the ability to do that again? Are you planning on it? Because, maybe you ought to be a bit more careful.
Well, as much as you like putting like little circles in my area, I would appreciate if you don't blow up the ship I'm on.
It just said stop following me, right? I didn't know they could do that. I'd been making progressive work. It'd all been working so far. I show off the finished product I already had. A couple piles of crystals turned into product.
I come down and look
I'm
at the
taken
armor
back a little bit by that
Damn.
statement. That says stop following me.
You're not as stealthy as you think, Bird Brain.
Cleok, we're on the same team. It's okay. This ship is really not that large. We'll drive each other crazy.
We'll talk later. And
You
I
gotta
walk
blow
off.
yourself up again. Come on.
That was specifically the cookie. And
All
I say,
right.
we'll talk later. And I walk up and apparently see some celestial runes. Which I don't know are celestial
Yes,
because I don't speak celestial.
However, you did notice that Talon was actually missing from the group of people checking out Yonovan's workshop.
How much did he notice? Because I'm there.
You were up writing when they were taking care of it. And it does take a bit to climb down. And you'd at least be at the back, not the front of the group, looking at the workshop.
Sure.
Okay. Mending cantrip.
I need to see how close Celestial is to Arin.
Arin is a primordial language. Celestial is nothing like it.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So,
All right. Two notes. I do have a mending cantrip, and when I added 4 to my first roll to make it a 13, I should have been doubling my proficiency bonus with the tool, so it should have been a 15.
that would have turned out better.
Also, I can help you do a better job and not blow up the ship.
Only if he talks to you.
Yeah. Don't blow up the ship. I go back to the kitchen.
He'll have to try again after you guys head out again.
Okay.
I put my hand on the side of the boat and cast the mending spell, the mending cantrip, to see if I can.
Pretty big hole, so it'll take quite a bit of time to do it.
Can I put a plank over it and try and mend the plank to the wood and make it one with the boat or something?
Not really how I think that works, but
Okay.
you can put a plank in there and use mending to kind of get the two to join, and then use some bonding agent, alchemy, voodoo to make it better.
I could just try and use my Tinkerer's tools and do a check too.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was saying to roll for. More mundane repairs, but with magic, that'll just help speed the process up a little bit and make it a little better. Cookie, so you go back to the dining room. Cleok, where you want to talk to Cookie before you guys get to your destination? Because that's coming up.
Yes.
Okay. So Talon's out getting stuff from the pantry, so you know Cookie is alone in the kitchen. Cookie, what are you up to?
I'm just, cooking. Just what I normally do. I dropped everything because I heard a bang, and so I'm just cleaning back up, trying to figure out where I was at.
Okay.
Where's Talon?
Huh? Yeah.
You sent him to get supplies for dinner.
Oh yeah, he should be in the back room over there. We need 2 legs of lamb for let's be honest, we need a lot of beans for dinner. Takes an hour to soften them up.
So I say in a hushed tone, you're telling me to not be paranoid about him, huh? Referring to Yonovan, not Talon.
I'm not telling you that he's a good guy. But yes, I'm telling you to not be paranoid. Because paranoid... Okay. Paranoid doesn't really help anybody. Wary? Okay. Following him around and peeking around corners is just going to make him... do the crap he's been doing to you.
This is pointless. I walk out.
Wow.
All right.
I thought I had people skills.
You
Back in the
didn't.
kitchen.
You didn't use your animal handling.
Wow.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Wow.
That was below the beak.
And I assume I've noticed the celestial runes by now and know that it's not Dwarvish, but it's some other language.
Yeah.
I find a new spot. I like to hang out in the crow's nest. Might as well.
So
Yeah,
while
it
this has
would be
all been
familiar.
happening, Rio has been spending the most effort on not doing any work at all on the ship, and so is probably hiding in the crow's nest.
So Cleok, you get up there and you see Ryu just laying out on the floor of the crow's nest.
Why am I not surprised? I find another spot. That's not the crow's nest.
You can fly, so there is the rear and fore masts.
That's fine. I'd like to do some meditating for as much as I can the rest.
Okay. Anything else for anyone? All right. Well, that was a doozy of a trip. Not sure how much further we can get. Let me roll up a couple things here. I am trying to find the stuff on the location, so that is what I'm trying to do. Feel free to talk if you guys have anything game related you want to mention.
Who else can read Celestial? Anyone?
I can.
I don't think I can. Which makes it kind of funny when I go to erase the Dwarvish runes. I see celestial runes. I'm like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, your Dwarvish runes turned into celestial runes. And they're completely foreign to you, and they're not even in the same shape or layout you put them.
I kind of like look at my hands, and I'm thinking about the magic I've been working with downstairs. Oh boy. And I walk back off. Time to go study.
Huh.
Leok believes his actions have been misinterpreted by some of his companions, but
You
doesn't
gonna-
know how to best respond to it. So he'll try and figure it out later.
Okay.
I have one last check to make before the end of the voyage, and hopefully it doesn't go boom on me.
Yeah. Let's see here. Alright, so if there's nothing else for the trip, we're going to get to a location.
I mean, I'll do one last check, but I also might grab Cookie and explain
chance.
what I'm trying to do.
Last chance to decide. We gotta do it now.
I'll just do it. Hopefully it won't blow up again.
We'll see.
Roll.
Seriously, bro.
It's not rolling. Roll. There it goes. Plus 6, so 11.
You're weary enough, you don't really make any progress.
Okay. But nothing blows up, so we're fine.
However, if you'd gotten the other one, it would have.
The other one, what?
It was on 20 and then rolled to 5.
I know.
Oh.
I was so sad.
Alright, so you come up on a sphere, and you enter it. And you go to a planet that you're able to see. It looks as though most of the planet is covered in liquid, except for the northern hemisphere has a massive continent and a fairly large island, and then the southern pole is a ice-covered region. So there's ice in the north and south pole, huge body of water on the south, and then a big major continent on the north with one island in the north. Major island. This, you're told by your captain, is one of the planets, the outmost planet, that's habitable in the region you were told to go to. So, he asks, let's quickly get the group together. Cookie, he's talking to you, and let's get everyone together and go over the mission objectives, quests, and we'll make a plan.
Okay. Cookie goes out and calls people. Give me a second to write down. We were in the region. We found the nearest planet. So I go and find people. Assemble for the captain. Unless you have a better way of calling.
You guys are all acquired by Cookie to come up to the captain's quarters for a meeting.
I hang out at the back of the room.
The rest of you show up?
Yep. Might as well. He's going to see us. Yeah, we finally found a planet we can land on. Woohoo!
Rio will come begrudgingly.
Rio, do you do anything, like, not begrudgingly?
Fight people.
Fight people. Oh, you just like to fight. Huh. Alright.
Oh, there's a few more things I like to do, but yeah, fight people.
We'll leave it at that.
Yes, we'll leave it at that.
I like to drink my alcohol.
Do you have any on the ship?
Lots.
Had,
yeah. There's a bit left.
Didn't me and Cookie use a lot of it for cooking?
You don't cook with good alcohol. Usually you don't cook with alcohol, you also drink that much.
We just pour it out the side ship.
That's expensive.
You think you're pouring it off the side of the ship. Rio's actually out there catching it in her mouth.
That might explain quite a bit.
Wow.
Oh wait, she can't fly yet.
So, Cookie, you, now that you have everyone there, the captain, Emrakul, asks you to recount to everyone the current objective and which route of investigation and completion you plan on.
Okay. Well, we know we were hired by a guy named Enan to kill Ginseng the Fiendish. We don't really know who Ginseng the Fiendish is, why he's called the Fiendish, etc. And really, I guess we knew this was the region. Do we even know what planet he's on, or what?
Nope, just that he's in this area.
Well, I suppose we ought to go and try to find a outpost where we could get supplies if there is one, or be like, I don't know. We kind of didn't want to ask around at the last time we landed. I hope it's not like that here. But there appears to be just, one landmass to land in down there.
So far, for what we can see, yes. But we're still on the outskirts. I believe there's another planet or two here. Let me flip through the charts here and find this location. Give me just a moment. Feel free to keep dialoguing with your comrades while I locate it.
Oh,
what happened if he's well liked here?
Well, then we ought to be really easy to find people who will point us towards him.
But if they're not why we're... Yeah, never mind.
Well, we just have to pretend to like him too. Maybe we've heard of his greatness. I don't know. Somehow, I doubt that. Someone wants him dead.
Yeah.
And someone wants him dead a month's journey away. We're willing to post about it a month's journey away.
That's true.
Something.
That says something too, huh?
I say we kind of look for a port. Maybe there ought to be a port sort of recognized on the charts, I would think.
One would hope, but...
Okay.
We're kind of at a stop. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah, sorry about that. I got a phone call from my mom. So I want to make sure everything was fine and then see if I could call her back tomorrow. Alright, so, yeah. Oracle turns back around. Ah, yes, here it is. Last report was this planet had a docking area, but is currently been mostly abandoned due to kind of like overwhelming just resource dwindling. There's not a lot of resources left on the planet, and so they didn't see value in it, and that also caused rise in number of pests. So it became more and more a reason to just leave it.
Pests, meaning more pirates?
Not necessarily pirates, but there could be pirates. Pirates tend to like finding abandoned places like these and using them. There may be a few small colonies of people who weren't able to leave, but it's probably going to be quite empty because, like I said, it was being used as a resource spot, but it's kind of dried up, and so pests, meaning monsters, creatures that sprawl up on all planets of the galaxy, start taking over more as the population of people stop purging
Ewoks!
them. Not really. Luckily, it does look some of the vegetation started to grow back over, but it was pretty desolated by people coming in and just ripping resources off it. I think it was part of the Dwarf and Elf Empire were doing it at first, but then I think the Green Coven took over.
The Green Coven?
That's one name for them. It's basically
Goblins and dwarves and whatever else.
Yeah, it's a union of a bunch of greenskins. They all work together to raid, pillage, and, have fun. Fun in their eyes, not ours.
Yeah.
Not yours.
So you like to raid and pillage and murder and all sorts of unsavory activities?
Who's asking that? Is that in character?
The captain?
I have an interesting past.
I scowl at that.
Well,
Cross my arms,
if
say
that's the
nothing.
sort of business you would like to do, you can always choose not to join the ship again next time we port. I prefer to keep our ship a little bit more on a positive moral ground.
I open a notebook and make some notes while staring at him.
The captain or Rio?
Rio.
Her.
Well, I guess a scouting party would be in order then.
Sounds like it.
I think Rio should go at the front.
Maybe Rio wants. Well,
In case cannon fodder's needed.
we do not want to split up. It's hard enough to stay together and survive.
Would you like me to see if I can find some underworld context? The person we're going to find seems like they would be the underworld sort of person.
If that's your particular skill, yeah.
Makes notes. Has underworld content. Past life not really left behind.
So, what are you planning?
It'd be good if we could land somewhere that won't draw attention to us. Because if we land through the front door, I really don't think that's the best scenario for us. We'll need to find out what we can about Ginseng the Fiendish, and maybe be able to waltz into town and have Rio there try to hook us up with someone who can tell us what's what.
Do we know enough about the port that whether that ships actually regularly dock, spaceships like ours regularly dock there?
Used to more.
Okay.
Now it seems to have been kind of abandoned, which may or may not be why you heard the pirates. Potentially, is what you guys seem to have made a theory on this guy being, is located here. So you guys want to go into the planet?
Yes.
Okay. You guys head in and you notice you go through the clouds. However, the clouds don't seem to end. And Emrakul starts getting uncomfortable wondering if it's actually a heavy fog and not just cloud cover. So he holds level and asks if anyone has any good theory to find out how far down it is.
We have rope?
Rope is not
Some,
that useful.
but how much? Probably not enough.
Probably not enough.
For the record, Cleoc does not volunteer to jump off the ship and try and fly down.
The issue is that you also need to worry about other obstacles because seen as a place used to be populated, there could be buildings or other structures that are obstacles. Or even mountains that you can't see.
Hey guys, I gotta go. Family's here.
Alright, man. We'll see you next time.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
If you need to make deception rolls, Rio has a +5 for, getting some contacts or something.
Okay.
And she does have a criminal backstory, so should have at least a little bit of understanding of the lingo.
And you had advantage on dexterity saving rolls in case we push you off the ship.
Hey, don't judge someone before you know their backstory. And you guys don't, so there.
Well,
Right.
there's always a next trip back for the next month where you can all find out about each other.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
Later.
Later. So, that leaves the rest of you. What's the plan?
Cleoc says out loud before anyone mentions it that my race tended to avoid cloud cover like this in areas that we were densely populated, because me running into a mountain or a building doesn't work as well as the ship.
Okay, I have an idea.
Hold on. Cleoc, stating
Yes.
that you remember a time where in your village there was a heavy fog where you could only see 5 feet or so ahead of you. And you notice this feels quite similar. Cookie, what were you saying?
Cookie sits down and starts chanting for a minute.
In what language?
Arcane.
Not. Anyhow.
So if he's a pure arcane caster, it'd probably be draconic.
And after a minute, a tiny hand pops up a few feet away, and I name the port city. And the hand should point towards it.
Doesn't necessarily point around obstacles, does it?
No, it'll point straight to it.
It points forward and to the left and down.
All right.
Slightly.
Well, that's the location to the port city. The direction. There might be something in the way. But
how fast is the ship going?
Very, very, very slow right now. Because they don't want to risk damaging the ship.
I take a bead on the angle compared to the deck. And I say, it's about, 20 degrees down. Give the coordinates. So you could calculate I don't know how far away it is. So no, we can't calculate where the ground is. Except
be right back, guys.
If we were level with it, there's definitely, air underneath us. Yes. We do have climbing kits, and we could hang out from under the ship, but I don't know that that'll help anything. We could, hey, Here, take this pebble and cast light on it, would you, Talon?
Talon. Apparently, Talon's gone mute.
Could you cast light on one of my bullets before I load it?
Talon could. Cookie
yes,
can't.
Talon could.
Which is, I believe, why Cookie's asking Talon to light.
Perhaps it would be just a good idea to to gain altitude again and see if we can find a spot where there's not cloud cover.
Or we could cast light on the bird and make him fly out there.
You still would have to get Talon to do that.
Yep. I poke Talon roughly.
You should do that with the
I think he said he would
actual-
be right back at some point, right? He did say he'd be right back. I think.
I miss.
I don't think I ever get blind sense as a monk, so me flying into cloud cover doesn't
It
necessarily
sounds
work out.
incredibly humorous to me. We'll find out if there's something there. No pain, no gain, right?
I was looking to die this session, to perish.
Ouch!
Except
Wow.
you didn't volunteer.
Although
I'm not
I think
convinced.
it's Mark. Error is looking to die this session, not necessarily Cleoc.
Well, that's good, because he's played it correctly.
Cleoc in character knows enough about flying in dense cover like this to understand the captain's feelings about wanting to continue to descend.
Let's have you fly and head from the ship. Let's have a rope tied to you. If you run into anything, we can pull you back in.
Do I look like Rudolph?
I mean, not yet.
Not yet.
Wow, you guys are great friends to one another. I can see.
There's some trouble. Yeah.
So, what's the plan?
I mean,
Cleoc
okay.
would be willing to take some sort of staff covered in the light spell and do a couple of test flights around the ship and see how much it actually helps in the cloud cover.
Yeah. I mean, it might just illuminate the cloud cover.
Potentially, and that's something that you need to find out.
Yep. Can we use Talon without Talon being here?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do it. I didn't hear him say he was stepping away, so that's why I hadn't.
Do we want to cast it on your staff, or do we want to stick it on a round and fire it off? Or
Fire a round.
I
It
mean,
can
that's
shoot
good.
pretty far.
But it'll alert people too.
Well,
If they're-
Just go ahead and
just drop it because it's a rock, and after a certain distance, the light will stop anyway.
Okay. So we stick it on a rock
Okay.
and cast it off and watch it.
You drop it.
Yep.
And the light disappears, but you don't hear any noise. And then you hear dink, 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 dink.
About how long till we heard it hit?
Do it again and try to time it.
I drop another rock just to listen to the timing.
Dink, 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 dink.
I get
Well,
on my
Captain,
notepad and start making some calculations.
we're probably about 200 feet.
Just
about
go-
something.
go ahead and cast light on my spear or something else. Maybe not a spear, because then go ahead and cast light on something. I would like some sort, the longest rope we have tied around me, just in case the cloud cover is so bad that I want some way to get back onto the ship and not get lost.
Jonovan, you want to roll for your calculation, whatever it is you're doing?
Sure. I mean, it should just be intelligence. Cool.
Okay. You
Let's
think
do-
you know how long it was till it hit something, but it's hard to know how far from it hit something to the ground because you don't know if it was how far between the things it was hitting.
with 2 separate drops and a 20. Okay.
You don't know if it bounced off or rolled down. It's hard to know exactly how far it is on that surface. Okay. Like, have you ever dropped a twig like that on a tree?
Yeah, it could have bounced down the side of a mountain or something.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. It's hard to know if it was a tree, if it was a mountain, if it hit other rocks necessarily.
I just know the first I know the distance to the first impact.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. You're able to pretty confidently say you know how far down it is to the first.
I share this information proudly.
Okay. Kleok, what were you trying to do?
Kleok doesn't particularly trust this information, but he, after realizing that they were getting nowhere with this, would volunteer to have one piece of his equipment, albeit his spear, bathed in the light spell. He would like some sort of rope in order to make his way back to the ship in case the cloud cover is so dense that he loses sight of the ship almost immediately.
Mm-hmm.
And he would like to jump off and try and take a slow descent down, using the spear to illuminate the way. Or in the case that the spear doesn't appear to be helping and he can't see 5 feet in front of him, return to the ship.
Light doesn't really help, and when you get out there, you are able to fly around the ship safely, but yeah, you can't really see. And the few times you're able to like dodge a branch or two, and so you go back to the ship.
I could tell it's something like a forest, though.
Maybe not. You only saw a couple branches here and there. It wasn't like you saw a whole bunch of branches that you dodged through.
But it was about the 200 feet down.
About there, yeah.
Okay. It's actually important.
Mm-hmm.
It means the jerk was actually telling the truth.
It does.
Anyway,
so
I go back to the ship and mention that there were a few trees about 200 feet down. I about ran into some of the branches, but I can't tell how many of them there were, just because it was dangerous for me to remain at that altitude.
Okay, so they go down to that altitude. You're safely able to do so.
And back.
Cool. You used your light spell a few times.
We found out that we're very close to the ground.
Sweet.
2 obstacles, anyways.
Which are probably attached to a ground. Either that or trees are in the sky and we're gonna have fun.
Could be very tall trees.
Well, what are we using to find out what it were?
We dropped a rock. We lit it.
Okay.
I wanted to drop Rio, but the others objected.
I was gonna say if we tied a rock to the rope, we could light it up, and then same thing.
I don't know. A scream might give you a better indication of how far away it was. Kid.
Anyway, now that we have descended further, I'm willing to tie the rope around myself again and do another flight down and actually, take a better look.
I happily tie a rope to his ankle.
Teamwork.
He tries to tie the rope to my ankle. I choose to
Dodge.
to take it off my ankle and tie it around my waist.
Well, the rope had actually never been taken off your waist.
Fair enough.
So you're probably good to go.
So what he's saying is he ties your wings together and throws you off? No.
I would like
Alright.
to attempt a struggle if they try and do that. But either way, I'm assuming that it's
Well,
to my waist, and I
it's
would
up to
like
them.
take
Just
a
a moment.
precautionary descent again.
Okay, just a moment. Are you guys actually going to try that, or
No, I'm
Try
just going
what?
to tie the other end of the boat so that he can't get too far away.
okay? All right, Kleok, I need you to roll perception.
I've been bad at these tonight. I don't think I've rolled higher than an 8 on die.
Hey, watch where you're going.
Gunch. Ow, that hurt.
19.
All right, you are able to dodge plenty of branches, and you see there definitely is more trees as you go down. They're not very big, which makes you feel it's higher altitude. I figured flying, you probably have seen trees get smaller as you get high altitude.
Right.
And they kind of remind you of that sort of a thing, especially since it's not like there's a few small trees and a few big trees. They're all kind of like the same size.
Okay.
And they kind of move away from the ship as you go further.
It's
So
alive.
can I move away from, like, you mean
Slanted.
planted? So I would perceive that we're on some sort of hill or mountain.
It's a good assumption.
But I would assume it's impossible for me to tell exactly how high we are up or how far.
Yeah.
Or okay.
You can't see that far enough down.
Question: can the ship actually land?
That was answered a few times already. Yes, it can, if they so choose.
I return to the ship and tell them that we appear to be on some sort of hill or mountain at very high altitude to the planet because there are trees, but they are rather small for trees, which would be normal in higher altitude.
Very good, Kleok. Thank you.
And then I also point in the direction that I perceive the mountain going, but considering that it is unlikely to, since we're still in dense cloud cover, we don't know if this is potentially the highest mountain. And so I would suggest that we climb up above the clouds and see if we can find a spot on the sphere that is not covered by clouds. Or
above
fog.
the clouds would basically be leaving the planet again.
The entire planet is covered in clouds.
You didn't get the full size of it since you didn't fly all the way around the planet, but the whole area you were in looked like it's probably decent coverage for the area where you could land for right now. Unless you want to go back up and spend another day or two circling the planet. It's your guys' call.
And the spot that we're going to go down would be about the spot where we would believe the formula.
Mm-hmm. The former docking location was somewhere in this area, from what he had on his charts.
I would say continue slowly going down, but that'd be mine.
This is a former waterfaring vessel, so yes, it can technically land, but it doesn't mean it would sit flatly on the ground.
Well,
It
that's what I
doesn't
was
mean
asking.
that an
Does it
impact
take
with
a
the ground
flat or...
would be good.
I'd like to go back down, and considering I would like to think that I'm pretty good at knowing the general location now, to find a tree and actually kind of land on the top of it and climb down and reach the ground.
Okay.
And what I'm specifically looking for is the ground. Does this look like any like man-made structures? I want to see if the area is basically overgrown.
Okay.
But
you go down, you land on the tree, and it gives way. It's too small to handle your weight, and its root system isn't good enough to hold on.
So it's a super small tree.
Yeah.
Let me rephrase that. I would like to try and find a path to the ground.
I mean, falling is the path to the
if
ground.
possible.
You did find where that tree fell from, so you could
I would assume I need
slide
a
into
deck
that
save or
spot.
something. Since the
You
tree
will,
gave
yes. Well, I figured you could open your wings again. You're not that bad at that. But
Fair enough.
Okay. That'll work for it. So you're able to get to it, and you think you find the spot because it's kind of rocky, dirty, rock and dirt. You set your claws down, and you kind of just slip and realize it's a fairly sharp angle, which is probably part of why the trees are fairly sparse.
But I don't believe this would be a part of the lack of a better term, man-made structure.
Nothing indicates construction.
And it's still, then the cloud cover is still too dense, or fog is too dense for me to tell anything from my...
Yeah.
And given how slippery it is, it would be dangerous for us to even try and traverse from here, so...
I can tell which way to go, or at least by direct path. But is it?
I would I climb, or I fly back up, and would suggest that we go in the direction the cookie mentioned. But let us try and hang some heavy items over the edge of the ship, over the various areas over the ship, that hang down, like our anchor.
Well, like I said,
stuff like that.
I could actually light something.
And then if it catches on something, we know that we're about to hit the ground. So let's try and hang, a few items of sufficient weight to know that if they got caught on something, we would know to stop descending.
Jonathan's pretty heavy.
He is pretty heavy.
But he's also
maybe he could throw some of his explosive crystals out there too and disperse the fog.
No. That might end up blowing us up.
Either way, that is my suggestion. You're more than welcome to use it or not. I know
we could lower something like you said, and then I could light it up.
You can't light up everything.
Well, at least one main thing. And that would help a little bit, would it not?
Potentially.
Potentially. Here's the thing. Could it hurt?
Okay, so let's attach things to ropes and hang them over the ship and light one of them up at the front. We're going to look weird from a distance.
I mean, it has to be seen to look weird.
This is early impact detection. We have things draped over the edge.
Okay.
Yes.
So
This is like-
let's ask ourselves some reality questions here. Assuming there are natives
Yeah.
here, how do they navigate the fog?
They're probably on the ground.
That's a great question. How do they?
There may also be a reason why this is an abandoned port now. And it could be this fog. But normally, you know, on our world, a seafaring ship's fog would be there would be lighthouses.
Yes. Mm.
There would, but is their light able to be seen through the fog right now?
The people down there may be creating the fog.
If they can create fog at this scale, we have other problems.
Well then, maybe this mission is beyond the capabilities. We should abandon it now.
On the other hand, we're awfully hard to detect.
Except somebody wants to throw a big lighted rock over the side of the ship. I just want
It's
to
a
throw a big rock
suggestion.
over the side of the ship.
It's a suggestion.
He argues that yes, it can hurt.
Okay.
Many things can hurt. Many things can help. It's just a matter of determining what you feel is the highest probability to ensure the outcome you'd like.
Anyway, I suggest
So-
a collusion detection plan or to abandon this and try and find different work.
All right. I think strapping, like various heavy objects to ropes is a decent attempt. At least a few off the front and back of the ship. Well, just the front of the ship would be sufficient. As long
Unless
as
the
we
back
go
is
slowly.
lower.
Yes, but if we're moving towards the front, we're not going to hit the back first.
I would feel better about having them off of both sides of the ship.
All right. Then let's get to it.
Maybe here,
We get to it.
here.
So one on each side
Okay.
of the ship, front and
Yeah.
back, and both sides.
Okay. So you guys are able to fix things eventually and start heading down. You have a number of very close calls and eventually are able to get to the port area. And you see a bunch of towers that have scaffolding, for lack of a better term, between them. Basically, air docks. You can barely make them out, but when you basically run into them, you can see that's what it is. What do you want to do?
Pick up here next time.
Well, basically, you guys want to dock there and try to go in on foot,
I
or
would
do you
like-
want to go down and land on the ground?
I'll go ahead and make. Given we can actually see it from here, I can assume that I will be able to see the ship. I would like to fly to the closest one and take a peek and see if it looks like it's been used.
The closest one you can jump off the ship and land on, because it's it's that close.
Oh, I jump off the ship and land on it, and I'd like to examine it to see if looks like it's been used recently, or
Okay.
or in any sort of condition to have been used recently.
You walk up and down it. It seems to be This one seems to be structurally sound, and it doesn't really seem to have anything on it or any indications of whether it's been used or not. It does seem aged, but like it's holding.
I recommend that we don't leave the ship attached to the ground. but that we all get off and ask our captain to be airborne and somewhere safe. Last thing we want is to have our ship taken over.
That's fair, but I also want an escape route. So yeah, we shouldn't tie it off, but we don't want them to be very far away.
How good is that? Was that
Hopefully-
crystal at actually pinpointing us, considering we were in basically a sandstorm the whole time last time? Is it like a beacon for us too?
There's really nothing you can see. You do know that the ship could be tied up here, and they could just stand on guard. It is above the ground, it's not on the ground. Because your collision detection buoys aren't hitting anything below the ship. And the captain did say they have sky docks in this area.
Well, if they can stand on guard and be capable of lifting off if they need to, I don't see why not just dock here.
Okay, so we'll pick up there next time where you guys have docked and are going to continue on foot. Yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys next week. It was fun.
Yep.
Yep.